Have you ever knelt down to pray, crying, begging God for something, and in the middle of the prayer thought, if God already knows what I need, why am I saying all this? Am I just talking to myself? And soon after felt guilty for having questioned your own faith. Jesus knew this question would arise. In Matthew 6, he says that the Father already knows what you need before you ask, and a few verses later, he teaches the Lord's Prayer and spends entire nights in prayer. If God knows everything, why did Jesus pray so much? Because prayer has never been about informing God. Prayer is about transforming you. It doesn't exist to change God's mind, but to align your mind with His. And what psychology and neuroscience today call neuroplasticity, the Bible already taught 2,000 years ago. Deep prayer changes your brain, your emotions, and the way you face life. In the next few minutes, you will understand step by step why God commands us to pray, even knowing everything, what happens to your mind when you pray, and how to use Jesus' model to move from desperate monologue to a truly transformative dialogue. Prayer doesn't change who God is. Prayer changes who you become in His eyes. Prayer is not information, it is transformation. In Matthew 6, verses 5-8, Jesus dismantles two common errors. First, prayer as a show. Do not be like the hypocrites who pray in public to be seen. It is prayer as performance, done to impress people, not to find God. Then he speaks of empty, mechanical prayer. Do not keep on babbling like pagans, for your Father knows what you need before you ask Him. If God already knows, why pray? Because true prayer is an encounter, not a speech. Go into your room, close the door, and pray to your Father who is in secret. Jesus is not saying, don't ask. He is saying, don't treat prayer as a formula to twist God's arm. Science helps us understand this. Studies show that during moments of deep and contemplative prayer, the brain changes state. Areas linked to doing mode slow down, and regions linked to emotion, connection, and meaning become more active. You leave autopilot and enter a more conscious mode of presence. That's why often you enter prayer asking for one thing and leave without the exact answer, but with peace, clarity, and confidence. It wasn't God who changed His mind, it was you who were realigned by Him. Practical action. Before pouring out your requests, take Jesus' test. Go into your room, a quiet place, close the door, and spend 2 to 3 minutes in silence, just breathing and remembering who God is. Psalm 46:10 says, "Be still and know that I am God." You will not know who He is if you never become still. If prayer made no difference, the strongest argument against it would be the very life of Jesus, and that's where everything falls apart. Luke 5:16 says that Jesus was withdrawing to lonely places to pray. Mark 1:35 shows that He would get up early in the morning before dawn to be alone with the Father. Luke 6:12 says that He spent the whole night praying before choosing the disciples. And the climax is Gethsemane, Luke 22:41-44. Jesus knew what was coming: betrayal, the cross, humiliation. Even so, He withdraws, kneels, and prays, "Father, if you are willing, take this cup from me, yet not my will, but yours be done." The anguish is so intense that His sweat becomes like drops of blood. Hebrews 5:7 summarizes it. Jesus offered up prayers and petitions with tears and was heard because of His submission. Understand this: prayer didn't change the plan of the cross, but it strengthened Jesus to go through it. Prayer wasn't a waste of time, it prepared Him emotionally and spiritually to obey. If the Son of God Himself needed to pray to align His human will with the Father's will, how much more do we? Practical action. Begin your prayers as Jesus taught in the Lord's Prayer. Hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done. Before asking for anything, declare that God's will is greater than yours. This inversion alone begins to reposition your heart. Philippians 4:6-7 says, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition with thanksgiving, present your requests to God, and the peace of God will guard your hearts and your minds." Paul doesn't promise, pray and everything around you will change. He promises, pray and your heart and mind will be guarded. The focus is internal. Neuroscience calls this emotional regulation. Praying with sincerity and gratitude activates calming systems in the brain, reduces fear responses, and strengthens areas linked to wiser decision-making. It's neuroplasticity in action. Repeated thoughts and practices reorganize your circuits. Romans 12:2 uses spiritual language for the same reality. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind, metamorphosis. And Daniel 6:10 shows this in practice. Even under threat of being thrown into the lion's den, Daniel continued to pray 3 times a day. He did not use prayer as a last resort. It was the rhythm that maintained his identity and his peace. Exercise: 7 minutes of transformative prayer. Minutes 1 to 2, specific gratitude. Minutes 3 to 4, alignment. God, where is my will different from yours? Minutes 5 to 6, make wise requests. What does the Lord want to teach me in this situation? Minute 7, silence and trust. Thank you because the Lord is already acting, even though I don't see it yet. 1 Thessalonians 5:17 says, pray continually. It doesn't say pray only when you're in crisis. It says continually, like breathing. Why? Because prayer is not an emergency alarm. It's a way to stay connected. John 15:5 speaks of the vine and the branches. Without me, you can do nothing. How does a branch stay connected? Through constant connection, which in practice translates into awareness of God's presence, inner dialogue, dependence. James 4:2 confronts another point. You do not have because you do not ask. God knows, but even so, He commands us to ask. Asking is not informing, it is acknowledging dependence. It is recognizing I cannot manage alone. The summary is simple yet profound. God doesn't need your prayer to know what you need, but you need prayer so you don't forget who God is, who you are in Him, and how much you depend on Him. Jeremiah 29:12-13 brings the promise, "Then you will call on me and come and pray to me, and I will listen to you. You will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart." God isn't playing hide and seek. He wants to be found. What He seeks is a whole heart, not a pretty performance. Psalm 145:18 reinforces this. The Lord is near to all who call on Him in truth. Psalm 51 shows David opening his heart without a mask. Isaiah 65:24 says that God is already answering even before the cry. All of this points to the same place. Honest, genuine prayer is the environment where God works in you. So pray today not to update God, but to be updated by Him, not just to change circumstances, but to be transformed in the midst of them. Ask in the comments, what part of your perspective on prayer changed today? What will you do differently the next time you pray? We invite you to subscribe and follow our videos that combine the Bible and science for practical transformation. Close with Psalm 34:18. The Lord is near to the brokenhearted, not those who pray perfectly, but those who pray sincerely.